been this recent development where George Soros has been coming in largely in Democratic primaries where there's not going to be much voter turnout and putting in a lot of money to elect people who are not very supportive of law enforcement and don't view the office as bringing to trial and prosecuting criminals, but pursuing other social agendas.
Attorney General Bill Barr is lambasting the insidious multi-million-dollar campaign led by liberal billionaire George Soros to get progressive prosecutors elected across the country. Now, this is not only damaging to the rule of law, it's a massive threat to public safety. Now, why? Well, because Soros is funding DAs promising to ignore certain criminal laws altogether, decriminalizing crime, theft, drug use, other quality of life crimes. You see it playing out a lot in places like San Francisco and New York, LA, etc. Now, Soros is basically trying to make the entire country look like the left coast. It's rapidly deteriorating. We all see it happening. Do you want that in your locality, in your town, in your city? And by the way, it's also happening just miles from where I'm sitting right here in the nation's capital. Soros's millions propelled his candidates to victory in 3 wealthy D.C. suburbs, including the town of my next guest. Joining me now is Nicole Whitman, former Commonwealth's attorney for Loudoun County, who was defeated by a Soros-backed candidate in 2019, only by about 1,500 votes. Nicole, I think what many out there do not understand is that these local politicians affect the things closest to home for folks. Just the basic quality of life on the streets, whether you can walk to the grocery store without getting accosted or step in something you don't want to, or someone coming into your house and parking for a while and thinking they're going to go to jail when they don't.
That's exactly right. I mean, what they don't understand is that these are quality of life issues. If your community isn't safe, if your children aren't safe walking to school, it's not a good place for people to live. It affects property values. It affects why people want to live in the places that they want to live. If they can't be safe, they don't want to live there.
You told me that in your race. We're just using this as an example so people know what we're up against.
Right.
Your opponent spent $1.5 million in a Commonwealth's attorney race?
Yeah.
When you told me that in the commercial break, I said there's no way that can be true.
The average Commonwealth's attorney's race in Northern Virginia, the candidates have to raise between $25,000 and $35,000.
Oh my God,
and that's
1.5?
And that's historically what they've been doing. She raised $1.15 million, and most of it came in about the last 3 weeks of the campaign with
They saw that you were
television
leading.
ads.
I know that's what happened. They saw that you were
That's
leading.
right.
Their barometer was right. You were leading. All right. Soros has been at this for years, though. It's not some new campaign. Politico reported back in 2016 that Soros is quietly overhauling the U.S. justice system and that progressives have zeroed in on electing prosecutors as an avenue for criminal justice reform. And billionaire financier Soros is providing the cash to make it happen. Nicole, why were folks asleep at the wheel? The same thing happened in local school board elections. That's how they managed to change the curriculum to be extremely radical on all sorts of family health and life issues, and also on American history. It's all imperialism now, but now they're doing it on a broad scale. Why did people miss this?
I think people missed it because in reality, a lot of people aren't paying attention to these local races. They're looking at, these are off years for elections. They're looking at presidential elections, gubernatorial races, and they're not paying attention to these smaller local type elections. Also, George Soros doesn't come in as George Soros, liberal, ultra leftist billionaire. He comes in as a safety and justice PAC. And so he has his candidates who he promotes saying all the right things, saying, I'm for victims, I'm for safety.
I'm going to protect you and your family.
Exactly, and I'm going to help drug addicts, not persecute them. When in reality, he's selling them a bill of goods that has nothing to do with community safety. And once these folks get into office, you see what happens to communities. You see in San Francisco, for example, and in Philadelphia, people using drugs on the streets in front of police departments, and the police can't do anything about it. It's a revolving door. People are arrested for violent crimes, for repeat offense types, repeating types of offenses, and the
They're
police
laughing.
They're laughing. They're laughing as they're walking out the doors because the police can't do anything.
They're crouching in pots, and going to the bathroom.
Right.
And it's become a viral image, and that's San Francisco, LA. That's the quality of life there. Nicole, thank you so much. We want you to run again. I know it was a hassle, but you need to get back there and run again. We're for smart, strong women running for these races. And George Soros isn't the only one undermining the rule of law and safety in America's cities.